How's it going, everybody? I am here at Vidcon, the largest video convention. It is dominated by entertainment, millennial, progressive, music, whatever. There's lifestyle vloggers, there's prank channels. Very rarely, there's very few people who do serious content or political content or strong social commentary. And that's why I was surprised to find out that this guy's here, Sargon of Akkad.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself? And
yeah, I'm I'm a YouTuber. I talk about things that I hate and how we can eventually, hopefully, fix the various problems we have.
so why are, like I just said, VidCon is dominated by entertainment and lifestyle. What are you doing here?
Because there is a distinct angle to social politics at the moment, and people don't really think about it too hard because usually they don't need to. But unfortunately, there are a select group of people that who do focus very much on sort of the politics of just being, and that means that someone else has to be on the other side of that. Otherwise, they're just going to completely overrun the people who don't really know what's going on and don't have any way to defend themselves.
Well, so you're talking.
We call these people social justice warriors.
Yes.
And we are the anti-social justice warriors.
That was my next question.
Yeah. And they're not going to be very happy to see us, which makes me very pleased.
Okay, so to use the word triggered, is this, you're coming here to set people off, to troll them, or elicit emotion?
Maybe, but I mean, I think our very presence is going to do that. I don't think we actually have to do anything to do that. Just the fact that we are here is going to annoy them enough, because I think they'll view this as their domain, and we shouldn't be in it. And yet we've paid for our tickets, so we deserve to be in it. And they're not going to like that.
Well, I mean, dude, we've seen in this fighting with, SJW, anti-SJW, whatever you want to call it, I think there's a strong possibility they might go to the organizers and say, hey, these guys are Nazis, these guys are dangerous, we don't feel safe, things like that.
I think so too, and I'll certainly record it if they do that, because I think it's worthy of being documented, because obviously that would be a lie, and I don't appreciate being lied about.
So, is there any seriousness coming to VidCon? Is there any real value outside of the shenanigans?
I'm sure there are. It'll be interesting to connect with people, and I mean, it's nice that because we all know each other online, but none of us have really met, and so it's going to be nice to actually meet those people in the flesh. And
that's the point of VidCon, right?
That is
exactly. So you're actually going to have a normal VidCon experience.
We are actually here legitimately for legitimate reasons, and it's probably going to get blown out of proportion.
Yeah. So how did you become Sargon of Akkad? I mean, you've made these videos. I've seen them for a while now.
It was just my gamer tag that I always use. When I used to play video games, and I still do play video games. And it was just my gamer tag that I would just use online. And I'd registered it on YouTube just to subscribe to channels and stuff, to watch things. And like 3 years later, I started uploading videos about things that bothered me, and now I'm here, and it's like my brand, I guess.
Has it? I mean, I don't know what you used to do for a living or what your life was like, but
I just did office work, just like I administered websites and things like that. It wasn't anything besides.
Are you full-time YouTuber?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So wow. So
yeah,
kind of like I guess the story of a lot of YouTubers that you started making videos because you felt like making them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're professionally doing this.
Yeah, I'm not a professional. That's the thing. I do it full time, but I don't consider myself to be very professional in my work, and I try not to be, because you get a whole bunch of conceits and pretensions. I don't really want to accrue around that. I don't want a team, for example. I don't want to have to worry about salaries and HR and all that sort of thing.
Well, now you got to worry about the business when the adpocalypse hits.
Yeah,
and then you're doing your numbers
that was scary. Don't get me wrong.
But that's it's really become like a regular business. Our numbers are down.
I've got to fill in tax forms and all this sort of thing.
All right. Okay. Here's the thing I want to talk to you about. I'm going to put you on the spot.
It's the Jewish question.
No, it's Lacey Green, right?
Yeah.
So, recently, I think most people know Lacey came out and said she wanted to have conversations with the anti-SJWs. Very rational, because I've known Lacey for a little bit, and I've found her to be rational, even though many people don't.
Even if she believes things I don't believe. Lacey isn't like what we would describe as a social justice warrior, because it's not holding like what we would consider to be regressive beliefs that's necessarily the problem. People are free to hold whatever beliefs they want, obviously. It's when you kind of weaponize those beliefs and use them to persecute other people. Like you're saying, do you think they're going to go and call you a Nazi and then try and get you escorted out? That's a weaponization of a certain political position. I'm obviously not a Nazi. I'm anti-identitarian in total. So
what they'll do is they'll claim that they're not safe with you here.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Exactly. But that's not true. And they know that's not true. I mean, what do they think that I'm going to do?
Well, words are violence.
Exactly.
That's what they say.
Exactly. But this is like the weaponization of these beliefs, and they want the hegemony of their beliefs over a certain space, which is probably why they're trying to get rid of us. Exactly, Vidcon. And that's actually what makes us being there. Just our presence there becomes provocative because of this sort of strategy that they employ. And
well, this is actually it's interesting. The theme of the videos I've been doing. So the past several videos I've done have talked about how the media has been labeling people who don't fit the mainstream narrative as alt-right, far-right extremists. And what we're saying here about how they might go and say, "Oh, I'm not safe here. Words are violence." It's not too dissimilar from how these journalists, I guess if you can call them journalists, they called me alt-right.
Yeah.
And I'm a center-left guy. I'm fairly liberal. They've called you like a men's rights activist.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe in that men should have rights, and I believe women should have rights. In fact, I believe in universal rights. I don't think that there should be any difference to anyone.
You sound like a social justice activist.
Well, I sound like a liberal activist. Actually,
Yeah.
I think universal rights is the only thing we can reasonably do to ensure equality between people.
But don't you know egalitarianism supports the patriarchy?
Well, I have heard that, and I've heard from many social justice activists that egalitarianism is a right-wing philosophy.
That seems crazy to me. I mean, literally, the word is about universal rights and equality,
equality,
right?
Yeah, equality under the law.
I'm personally, I'm not opposed to social justice at all. But I think that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah, it's not. I mean. It's not necessarily the idea that, I mean, obviously I think everyone should have the same rights. So if that's what they were arguing, then I wouldn't disagree. It's the weaponization of this, and they turn it into a form of like social bullying. To make sure that they keep certain people out of certain spaces, even though these people don't necessarily actually hold pernicious beliefs. They just hold beliefs that are just in opposition to social justice in some ways. Like, for example, I don't agree that men are oppressing women. I don't agree to that. And I mean, I think Hillary Clinton is a good demonstration of how women can do very, very, very well for themselves.
Well, some people would argue that it's proof they can't. Donald Trump beat her.
Yeah, but he didn't beat her because he was oppressing her. He beat her because she's wildly corrupt and has a huge and long history of being corrupt, and WikiLeaks showed us.
I mean, outside of that, she was considered by the U.S. to be unlikable.
She is unlikable, but that's because women can be unlikable, just like Donald Trump is unlikable.
Oh, Donald Trump's very unlikable.
Exactly,
to a lot of people.
Exactly. And it's not a male or female thing. It's a personality thing.
Actually, there was a skit that this troupe did where they reversed the roles and had them read the same speeches. Did you hear about this?
I haven't.
I might be getting it wrong, but something happened where people were claiming that in the debate, the reason Hillary Clinton was viewed unfavorably is because she's a woman. So they took Hillary Clinton's speech and Donald Trump's speech and switched them and had a man read Hillary's speech and her answers, and a woman read Trump's. And the audience, when they were polled, said that the man who was acting like Hillary was unlikable.
Yeah, it's what she was saying that was the problem.
She came off, I guess, I don't want to speak for the entirety of the country, but at least amongst my circles, people found that she was kind of elitist.
She is
condescending.
There's no way of portraying Hillary Clinton that isn't elitist. She's been an insider since she was in her 20s.
At Goldman Sachs banker speeches.
Absolutely.
And to be fair, Trump comes off as this like crude and lascivious, like,
because he is.
Yeah. People ask me this. I saw a meme that I hate talking about the Hillary Clinton Trump thing because
it's important because it A, affected a lot of people, but B, it's very distinctive, a very distinctive divide between them. I mean, Hillary Clinton's very refined. She's well spoken. She's very well informed, and Trump is the opposite of these things.
But one person seemed more. It's populism. It's
absolutely.
I think that's an interesting thing too about at least our politics. The Republicans tend to talk like normal people. They say, I'm doing air quotes. They use smaller words. They whereas like the Democrats tend to be more liberal elites, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Democrats are highly elitist, and they embody the term liberal.
So let's use this and segue into media elitism, because there's an overlap here.
There is.
And the reason I'm thinking about this is that what I've found, and what people have told me, other journalists, is that in big cities, you have, people tend to be very liberal, and these news organizations are headquartered mostly in New York, and so naturally when they hire people, they're going to hire people who tend to be progressive, liberal, and that what ends up happening is all of the content starts accusing people who are moderate or center right of being like far right extremists or things like that.
Yeah, you end up with sort of like a close circle intellectually, where people aren't really, they're not taking in ideas from outside the circle. And this is, I honestly think this is one of the reasons that the left has been losing the argument a lot, because I think they've been cloistered away in their metaphorical ivory tower, and they have decided that they have the only legitimate political perspective. And they find no legitimacy in the complaints of the poor working class plebeians in the middle of the country, and they find them to be ignorant and backwards. But that doesn't change the fact that they are also voters, and so you can disparage these people as much as you like, but unfortunately they vote, and if you can't shame someone into voting for them.
Do you think there's also, I've talked about this too, that there's like a squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing, where the social justice warriors, as people call it, as you refer to them, because they're so loud, and the media companies and the advertisers listen to them out of fear. I'm not trying to make an accusation or anything, but in reference to advertisers pulling out from certain events, the reason I bring this up, we've heard talk of this, that the social justice warriors, whatever, will start a boycott or start tweeting a hashtag, and then advertisers will back away from a company. But what we just saw, and this is what I ask you about, is I'm not sure if you saw what happened with the Shakespeare play, where the right-wing activists went up on stage,
the same thing,
but also got advertisers pulled out. So do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, this is the monster that the left wing has given birth to. They've just shown them, look, this works. There are many right-wing activists. Effectively. It's important to distinguish between like actual journalists who are trying to impartially present information and what are effectively activists. And it's very hard to find a left-wing impartial journalist these days. And the mirror image is rising on the right with people like Paul Joseph Watson, Mike Cernovich, Rebel Media. They're basically the right-wing versions of these left-wing outlets.
I think Paul has actually referred to some of these people as right-wing SJWs.
Some of them are, like some of them are kind of snowflakey. Like the Shakespeare play was a great example. For anyone who doesn't know, basically they were reenacting Shakespeare's Julius Caesar with Donald Trump as Caesar. It's actually not a bad metaphor, but obviously Caesar ends up getting stabbed to death in the Senate House. The Rebel Media commentator, I can't remember her name, Laura something?
Laura Loomer?
Laura Loomer, yeah. She had got up on stage and started screeching about free speech. And said, well, if you'd stop interrupting them, they were actually exercising their free speech. You're actually infringing on that now. I don't agree that you should, you haven't got the right to go up and start disrupting their play. I find the play distasteful, personally. I don't like the overt politicization, especially there's a worrying trend in the left at the moment to essentially call for violence. And we're punching of Richard Spencer. Any right-thinking person thinks, well, a democracy is the purpose of a democracy is to prevent political violence. There's no need for political violence in democracy. It automatically delegitimizes you by doing it. And the left was running around screaming, what we should be doing is punching Nazis. Okay, well, who's a Nazi? Everyone is a Nazi. Yeah, exactly. So now you've got a license to punch anyone who disagrees with you, and it's reprehensible.
But don't you think then, Laura Loomer running up on stage, it was short-lived, it lasted 30 seconds, she spoke, no one got hurt, and she was removed and arrested.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the fact that she didn't do anything crazy, but I'm not condemning it, but I don't really agree with what she did. It was a stunt. I don't really like stunts.
I'm just like, as long as nobody gets hurt, then I think the protest is, is to be...
Protest is completely legitimate, obviously, but it just seemed unseemly to me. I didn't like the play, and I didn't like how much about the play either.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that this company does the same thing with every president.
Oh, really? Do they?
Yeah,
Okay.
I read an article somewhere from, it was like 2012, where they did the same thing with Obama, apparently.
Oh, right, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you got any final thoughts on VidCon before we walk into the belly of the beast?
I don't intend to do anything. I just intend to go around and, I mean, I purchased the tickets. I'm just going to be a regular attendee. I hope that they understand that I'm just a regular guy and I just fancy seeing the sights and meeting the people I like.
Hopefully, with you coming here, I mean, you're a lefty guy,
I am, yeah.
but you
Sounds right.
challenge these people.
Yeah.
Hopefully, with you here, it can actually mend that divide, and people will realize you're just a person.
I would love to sit down and actually just have a regular conversation like we're doing now with any of these people, you know, because in this, they absolutely refuse to do that. It's rather frustrating, and if they don't want to do that, I'm not going to press it on them or anything. I'm not going to, hound them like some press gang or something, but I might ask and say, hey, can I interview you or something, and we'll see what the response is. I imagine it's going to be negative.
I'd love to see you and Lacey Green, like, down and have a conversation.
We actually had a nice conversation via Twitter DM, and she was very nice, very very polite. We had mild disagreements on points of ideological difference, but we had a pleasant conversation and we had a nice chat. And apparently she'd gone away. We spoke afterwards as well, and she was saying how she was getting absolutely dragged by her social justice warrior friends for even daring to speak to me and saying that it was a pleasant conversation that we had. And I was like,
You're the other.
I am indeed the other, and she can't be seen talking to me. It's good grief, that would be terrible.
Well, so this will be interesting, but
Yes.
thank you for sitting down and talking with me. It's been a pleasure. For all of you who watched, thank you all so much for hanging out. Comment below, let me know what you think. We hit on several subjects here, but click the like button because it really does help. And you know what I should say, as I'm sure a lot of people who are watching, they know who you are because they came from your channel, a lot of them. A decent amount of people saw, I did a video on Sargon's channel before, so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the media. And for those that are watching, if you want to see more videos like this every day at 4 p.m., my goal here at VidCon is, I'm looking for interviews mostly, and I think it'll be interesting with Sargon, you, and some other people that you've associated with will be here. So there might be some interesting happenings and conversations. So follow me on Twitter at TimCast if you want to see live updates. And if you'd like to help me do my work, go to patreon.com/TimCast. Give whatever you can or give nothing at all. The videos will always be there for you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.